At the 50th anniversary of the German Development Institute in September 2014 in Bonn, an international audience discussed if development policy is trapped in a legitimacy crisis and how it has changed over the years. The traditional approaches no longer fit into a global political economy characterized by shifting wealth, the rise of the South, and the century of global commons. But many cooperation patterns in this field are marked by an unbalance. A discussion about the reorientation of development policy to overcome these structures and to emphasize the fundamental significance of knowledge for social development and international cooperation has come along. So what is development policy?
Development policy is a tool that governments and international agencies can apply to change the world. Well, of course, development has always been concerned with the lives and the livelihoods of the poorest people. But it's also true that in the long term, development has been an extraordinary success.
Which solutions do the policy and the private sector offer?
The influence and also the interactions between policies and companies are very, very small. Therefore, it could be a good solution if people from companies are going much more into policy and also the other way around, so that we understand each other much more better. At the moment, especially in Europe, we have two systems which are working parallelly but not really close together. And with this non-connection, we will not be able to be very successful in the future in solving the big challenges we have.
What can individuals do, and can they have an impact?
But the people do not do it, so you can make a decision yourself. Like yesterday, we had a boat trip here in Bonn, and somebody took the decision that our dinner will be a vegetarian one. An easy decision. Everybody accepted it, but normally if you are going to buffet on meetings, nobody has taken this decision before. So that is something we can do at once, think a little bit and to take the responsibility to make a different decision. And on the world level, on the policy level, generally said, I think it is really worth all the power we are putting into international agreements, like the current agreement we are trying to get next year in Paris. But at the same time, the states which are willing to change something could also form a union of 10 or 15 states and say, okay, we are starting. All our social developments, our international agreements started like that. They did not start on the world level. They started on a regional level, on a bilateral level, or whatever, but they started. And that's what we have to do. We simply have to start with smaller groups, and then others can come in, or they make a second group. It's also a possibility or a risk, but we are going forward then.
So in what way have priorities, international structures, and key actors in development policy and international cooperation changed? For example, emerging countries today are willing to take on more responsibilities when it comes to the global or South-South cooperation.
I suspect that the old big division between the G8 and the G77, the rich countries on the one hand and the poor countries on the other, will begin to weaken, and that we will see issue-based collaborations and coalitions forming in order to make sure that change happens.
And of course we need to do a lot more about conflict prevention to try to avoid these problems to begin with. And then of course we need to link much better development with these global issues, in particular with climate change, in particular with maintaining peace and security and with maintaining financial stability.
What we need to do now is to reshape our industry of development studies to make sure that we recognize those changes in the world, in poverty and in the level and importance of global problems. So my own view is that we will continue to do the kind of work we already do, and that has been pioneered in many ways by the German Development Institute through its work on global governance, that it will become more international in scope.
Development policy is changing in order to face today's challenges. And just like for the past 50 years, the German Development Institute will be at the forefront of innovative research, training, and Policy Advice.